Hey, what's going on? It is Jeremy here, and what I'm actually going to go through is a few different techniques to actually make your Camtasia and screen recording videos look a little bit better. Now, if you're using some free screen recording software, you're not going to have all the features that paid softwares have. Like when I talked about picking a screen recording software, I actually talked about the benefits of buying one is that you get the post-production software that actually comes with the software itself. So what this is actually an editing program that you can actually use to edit your videos and things like that. And the cool thing about this is it actually can be really advanced and make really cool looking videos if you know what you're doing. I don't personally use this too much. I use a much more advanced software, but I'm going to show you the basics of actually making some really cool videos and kind of getting to know how Camtasia Studio works and how you can use it for editing. Now, if you're on a Mac, the Camtasia Studio for a Mac may look a little bit different, or if you're using ScreenFlow or something like that on a Mac, it's going to look a lot different than all this. But I found out that ScreenFlow and Camtasia both have similar features. They're just in like different places. So these aren't going to be here. They're going to be like maybe in menus or something like that. And they're probably going to be called something different. But it's all basically the same thing. These all have like similar programs and similar benefits and features and things like that that you can use. So what we're actually going to go through is, adding some really cool effects to your Camtasia videos. So let's just say that you maybe want to even do like a really cool slideshow or something like that, and you don't want to use PowerPoint. Well, what you can do is use what's known as an animated background, which is basically a video file that repeats over and over again, and you can use that as your background for your PowerPoint or your video presentation. And then you can actually add text animation to this. So I have this background right here. I'm going to drag this into my clip bin. And what the clip bin is actually where all your files and everything like that actually are stored. So all the files that you're working with inside this project is actually stored in the clip bin. And what you can do is you can use these in multiple different places within your timeline and things like that, and you can actually come back to these or even preview them just by double clicking on these. So as you can see, I actually have this, and it's actually just this background that has some kind of special effects or whatever. Kind of looks like Matrix or whatever. And I actually found this clip on YouTube and downloaded it. And you can buy these things and whatever you want to do, but I'm just going to show you a really quick example about how to use this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drag this to track 1. And the cool thing about this is that each track are actually layers in your video. So the lower the number track, that's the background. So if you add something to track 2, that's actually going to show above the background. If you add something to track 3, that's actually going to show above whatever on track 2. And I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So the other thing that I want to talk about is actually adjusting the dimensions of your video files. Now what Camtasia usually does is they want to resize your video file almost instantly. Now if you're doing a really cool screen recording or whatever, this is really important. If you have like really blurry screen recordings when you put them up on the web, the reason is because they try and adjust it right from the beginning, and then you produce it as normal size, and what happens is it records it, and then you record it at one size, then you scale it down, and then you scale it back up, and that makes it really blurry. So to avoid that, you actually always just go with recording dimensions, unless you know the video player size and you know what you're doing. So this is a 1280 by 720 video, and I'm just going to use the recording dimension size. So this is actually a background, and if we just play this right quick, you can actually see that this is just a background, cool little effects. So let's say I want to add some text to this. Well, it's really easy to add text in Camtasia. what you can do is you can add a call out. And what call outs are like add-ons that you can add to the video itself, like arrows or circles or squares, cool arrows, and you can even do drawings. These are actually drawings, so if I play this, let's see, draw time, you can see that it'll actually draw it right here on my screen. All right. We can add, circles, squares, stars, and then we get to the good stuff. The good stuff is, like, let's say there's important stuff on the screen, blur that you want to blur out. You can actually blur stuff out. You can actually make it a spotlight so everything else gets dimmer besides the thing you're looking at. All right, then you can highlight stuff. So if there's something on the screen you want to highlight, you can highlight it. And then we can, make a transparent hotspot, which I'm not even going to get to, but text is where you add text. And what we can do is we can adjust this little box right here in our preview window. We can actually drag this around, and wherever we drag this, that's where our text is going to show up. And then we can go down here, and what this little gray box over here, this is like your workstation. Everything you work on over here actually appears in the preview window. So if we just type in really cool text effect, all right, you can see it shows up right here. Now that looks a little small, so we can actually adjust the size to maybe like 24. All right, now it's black and you can't really see the black on blue, so we can change the color to white. All right, and then what's really cool is we can already start adding animations to this. So as you can see, this call out actually appears on track number 2. So it actually shows up on the background. Now if I rearrange this and put the background on track 3 and then the text on track 2, the background will actually show over the text and you'll never even see the text. All right, so we have this call out and it looks really, it looks pretty good right now. But as you can see, it stays there and then it fades out. All right, so we have all these features down here. We can actually make it fade in. We can make it fade out. All right, and then down here in the track, we can actually drag this. Let's say we want the text to stay on the screen longer. We can actually drag this and actually adjust how long the text actually stays up there. And let's say we want to get the timing perfect. Well, we can actually drag this left and right and make it appear on the text or on the screen when we want it to. All right, so these little triangles that you see at the beginning, these are actually the fade duration. So if you see these, all that is basically a fade. And the way we get rid of these fades are in the properties of the actual call out. So let's say we don't want it to fade. Well, we can actually just move this down, and as you can see, that kind of just disappears, and then we can adjust it. So now instead of fading in, it just appears. Boom. All right, so now what we can do is we can actually animate this, which is really, really cool. So if we just double click on this, make sure it's highlighted, we can go to the more options and we can go to the visual properties. And what the visual properties are basically the properties for how this little element works on the screen. It's not necessarily that you understand it, just know that this is how you add animations. So what we do is we click on this, we make sure it's highlighted, and then we click on the Add Animations button. Then we can actually scale this to a huge scale. All right, and then we can, this little blue button will appear. Well, what this blue little dot down here actually is actually the animation where it actually scales. So if we just play this, when it hits that little blue button, you can see the text instantly grows to that size. But let's say we want to make that actually grow instead of just jump to that size. Well, what we can do is this little blue button, we can actually adjust its animation. So let's say we just drag that to the end, and then we drag the animation all the way to the left. So we'll have this playing, and then you can see now on the screen right here, it's growing just slowly. Let's say that's like way too slow. We're just annoyed with it. Well, what we can actually do is adjust this little bar, all right? And then we can actually have it happen a little bit quicker. So we go boom, and now you can see it's growing a little bit faster. We can also make this fade in and out with the opacity settings, and what those actually are is just making it fade in or out, or how well you can see through it. You can use this using fade as well. So if you want it to fade out, you can use it here, or we can use the fade settings right here. What's really cool though is adding music to sync up with all this. So what many people don't really know about Camtasia and ScreenFlow is that they actually have a library of music. We have actually a ton of music inside Camtasia. So if you just go to library, there is a ton of music and other little animations and themes inside here. So if we just, let's see if my audio is on for, let's see, record audio. So if we just play this song, so if we just double click on it, you can kind of hear the song that's playing. And let's just say we want to use that. Well, what we can do is actually just drag that onto the timeline, and I'll actually just add it to our video. And these are songs that you can use in your videos and things like that, to, you know, add to the livelihood of your videos. All right. So that's, you know, how we add little animations and things like that. So the other thing I want to talk about is, let's say these musics, you know, you just don't like them. All right. They just, you know, they suck. You hate them. They're not any good. You're just annoyed with them. They don't fit the theme of your video or whatever. Well, the great thing about the internet is it's full of this stuff. But it's really hard to find what's known as royalty-free music that's actually free. The cool thing about YouTube is they actually have an entire library of music that you can use. So youtube.com/audio library. And if you go here, there is a ton of music you can download. So if we just play some of this, so we play it, and then we can actually list it by genre. So let's say you need some cinematic music, all right? Well, what's cool about their listings is they actually have the genre and then the mood that it's in. So let's say we need some really dramatic cinematic music. Well, we can play this one, see how this sounds. Let's say we need some happy music. So all these music soundtracks you can actually download, and all you got to do to download these is just click the download button. It's really simple, and you can actually literally go through here for like hours because there's so much stuff, so many songs in here. All right, they also have sound effects that you can use. The sound effects library is, you know, it's all right. You know, you got baby whines. You know, emergency sirens and things like that. So you can go on here and find, like, you can find some like really good sounds and music and sound effects and things like that. You just have to spend a little bit of time searching because their library is so enormous. But you can download all these, or even, you know, save them to your favorites or whatever. It's really, you know, fun to use. Especially when you find the right song that fits like your video or whatever. So that's how you do simple animations within this, within Camtasia. And you know, there's so many features to using Camtasia and being able to make really cool videos, like the zoom and pan, where you can actually have, let's say you want to, there's something on the screen that you want to zoom in on. you can actually just zoom in on it, and the screen will automatically adjust to it and things like that at that point in time. This is really just like a learning tool that you have to sit down and go through and learn. All right, like in the libraries, there's actually like tons of like themes, and what themes are all kinds of like animation packs that and like title tags and things like that that you can use within your videos. So like they have like banners. So if we like, there's like animated banners, call out banners. There's even like, you know, speech bubbles. So they have some animated speech bubbles and things like that that you can all edit and add to your videos. There's lower thirds. So like lower thirds are like what shows up when people actually, let's say somebody new comes on the screen and you want to like introduce them or whatever, or make a hot point or say, you know, this is so-and-so speaking or whatever. You can add that to it. And all you do is like click and drag it to the tracks. And it's really, really easy to use once you actually just sit down and play with it. There's tons of videos on YouTube and all over the web teaching you how to use these screen recording softwares. And they have a ton of features. Like there's transitions that we can use. There's, let's say we want to go from this video to another video. So let's just add one of my videos to this. All right, so we have this video right here. So let's say we want to make a cool transition from one video to another. Well, we can do that very, very easily just by using the transition tab. And I think I just broke everything. So to make like a cool transition, all you do is you literally add another video file at the end of your video file. So then you just click on the transition button and there's all these cool transitions that you can make. So we have this little animation background, and then it just jumps into like my other video. So if I want to, you know, make that, you know, look a little bit better instead of just jumping into it, we can actually add one of these. So like cube rotate, and you just drag it down to the video in between the two video clips that you want to make the transition. All right, so let me delete this sound, and then you can actually see what it actually looks like. And as you can see, it made like a really cool looking transition. Like it's really simple to use. You just actually got to play around with it because there's so many features inside like these screen recording softwares. So, and then we can like double click, and let's say we don't want that one. We want this circle stretch one. Well, all right. Boom. So it adds just a little bit of punch to your videos when you actually use it this way. So I highly recommend just sitting down, playing with like your screen recording software. It's really up to you how you use it and how great you make your videos look. All right. So just sit down, play around with it, get to know it, because the more you get to know like your softwares that you're using on a daily basis to make your products and things like that, the easier it gets to make really good looking things. All right. So with that being said, use this information, go out, play around with Camtasia, play around with your screen recording softwares, add in cool effects. Don't be afraid to, you know, play around and actually try new things out. But at the same time, don't let it stop you from actually getting things done. So really go out, you know, just play around, make some really cool looking stuff in your free time. And once you really learn how to do this, you know, use it towards your products and things like that. With that being said, it's Jeremy Watson. I hope you enjoyed this little short tutorial. I know I didn't cover that much stuff, but you know, it's just a little introduction to everything that is out there within your softwares.